Got a nice rousing ovation before the game tonight on his final regular season game here inside Coleman Coliseum. Here's a look at the starting five, of course, headed up by Kyra Lewis Jr., who's having some kind of season.
Whew. He is probably the biggest under-the-radar SEC player of the year. Alabama's got to get some more wins, but you will not find a better point guard than Kyra Lewis in this league.
Lewis went to the basket. Good defense from Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt also making a little change. They're going to go small tonight. They insert Brayley Albert, the freshman out of Los Angeles, California, into the starting five tonight to match up with the speed and the ability to shoot the long ball for Alabama tonight. We'll see how that plays out.
Well, they know that Alabama, Dave, loves to play an up-tempo style, close to 77 possessions a game, and so they want to have a team prepared to play that style. As Saban Lee shows a little bit to this Alabama team. It starts with Herbert Jones. Coleman Coliseum, a lot of energy in this building tonight, and you can tell these fans come here expecting a win. The true fans of Alabama are still here behind their team. Great to see them here tonight.
One-handed Herb Jones is playing some kind of basketball despite that left wrist bandaged up. Beetle Bolden gets the start tonight for Alabama, the lone senior on this team, a transfer from West Virginia. Got a nice rousing ovation before the game tonight on his final regular season game here inside Coleman Coliseum. Here's a look at the starting five, of course, headed up by Kyra Lewis Jr., who's having some kind of season.
Whew. He is probably the biggest under-the-radar SEC player of the year. Alabama's got to get some more wins, but you will not find a better point guard than Kyra Lewis in this league.
Lewis went to the basket. Good defense from Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt also making a little change. They're going to go small tonight. They insert Brayley Albert, the freshman out of Los Angeles, California, into the starting five tonight to match up with the speed and the ability to shoot the long ball for Alabama tonight. We'll see how that plays out.
Well, they know that Alabama, Dave, loves to play an up-tempo style, close to 77 possessions a game, and so they want to have a team prepared to play that style. As Saban Lee shows a little post-up game here early.
Saban Lee, fifth in the conference in scoring. This is, you know, man, we got a great guard matchup tonight. Here it is. Saban Lee on Kyra Lewis Jr. Saved over there by one of the most outstanding freshmen in this league, Jaden Shackelford. For Jerry Stackhouse, he's just trying to keep it all together for this team in his first year at Vanderbilt. It has been a long run. This is a team that is 9-20, 1-15. Coming from the NBA's G League into the college game for the first season.
And what you have to say about Jerry Stackhouse, you see good defense that time by Dylan DeSue, is that he's very comfortable in this role. Not winning, but as you see Saban Lee with the finish, but more importantly, in fighting to get a program going. He said, listen, we want to spoil the party. This is a culture that we're building here. We don't care if they get into the tournament or not. We're trying to build a program.
Reese wide open for three. He knocks it home. Alex Reese averaging almost 10 points a game. Alabama, the second highest scoring team in the country, averaging over 83 points a game. Another freshman with a bunch of talent. DeSue gets it to Saban Lee. His finger roll. A little too much English on that one. It spins out. Shackelford the other way.
Vanderbilt here early, Dave, doing a nice job of getting back in transition. But you have to find that man, Alex Reese, who shoots a little long on that particular shot.
There's Nate Oates. This club sits here at 16-13, 8-8 in the league. Fish, if they can get to 10-8 in this league, pick up at least one in the SEC tournament, that's 11 conference wins.
Sure. Well, and it puts them at that high mark where they would be more than 4 games above 500. Only one team, I believe, in the last 20-something years to get in less than 4 games above 500.
Reach the rebound off to Bolden. Off the side of the backboard. Reese hit his first one, but has misfired badly on his last 2.
Yeah, he missed Forbes in the corner, and that allowed Saban Lee to get out on the break as well.
Boy, how about Saban Lee bringing some energy? He is rolling here in the early moments of this one.
Yeah, Dave, he's a guy that I can't say enough about simply because of what he has went through being at Vanderbilt. Last year, you lose Darius Garland after getting off to a nice start. You lose your coach and Coach Bryce Drew. Then you have a new coach. You get off to a tremendous start this year with Aaron Nesmith and then lose Aaron Nesmith again. He has displayed resilience better than anybody that I can really think about in this league, the way he has handled the losing streak and the way he has handled the change in coaches and teammates.
5th in the conference in scoring, 7th in field goal percentage, 6th in assists, 8th in steals.
Whew.
I mean, that's a pretty impressive resume.
Unsung hero, wouldn't you say?
Yes. Here's Kyra Lewis working on Saban Lee. Bolden traveled, took that hop step, and gives it right back to Vanderbilt. And there is Aaron Nesmith. He's been traveling with the team, hanging out with the guys. Put up a season-high 34 before the injury. Led the SEC in scoring, was 5th nationally before his injury.
I mean, Aaron Nesmith is still 6th in the league in three-pointers made.
I hadn't played in 2 months.
Hadn't played in months.
Tell you what, it's been fun to watch him. You know, it's tough him not playing, right? I mean, it's been killing him. But he is still watching him at practice, watching him in pregame.
Oh yeah, he's been tremendous, and don't feel too sorry for him. I got a feeling you'll see him in the first round of the NBA draft this year as well.
Yeah, I'm not going to feel too bad. He's some kind of talent. And Bolden on his last regular season game here in Coleman Coliseum knocks home that 3.
Yeah, well, Bolden, 26 games, I believe, here at Alabama, but well over 100 in his career. The West Virginia transfer brings a lot of grit, toughness, and competitiveness to this Alabama Crimson Tide.
That foul against Albert will give it back to the Crimson Tide. Alabama by 1 early. SEC.
And then knocks down a three-point shot. He shoots as well as anybody. And once he gets in transition, he is just like a Corvette. He picks it up and just explodes to the rim with a little English there off of the glass. I think he's one of the most challenging players to guard in the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there might be somebody that would challenge him, but they wouldn't beat him in a foot race with a basketball in their hand. He is super fast. Saban Lee might give him a run for his money. Saban Lee is off to some kind of start. 7 points for Saban Lee.
Well, this is the time of the year where those who it means to most to truly steps up. You saw Mike Coltsart last game in the South Carolina game. Your seniors, they are the guys who are truly going to play their best basketball.
Saban Lee averaging 17.5 points a game.
Well, this is something that Coach Stackhouse said that he was going to do in the game tonight. He said, we never have really been a pressing team, especially with his NBA background. But on the collegiate level, you have less guys who can handle the basketball as well. And after seeing Alabama to have a couple of the turnover issues, they said they're going to try to press a little bit more today.
Well, look what Vanderbilt or Alabama has done. They've got Herb Jones now checking Saban Lee. Now they get a switch. Saban right into traffic. Knocked out of bounds by the Tide. 6 on the shot clock. Tony Green and Chuck Jones talk about it. Decide it's Alabama basketball.
You talk about a phenomenal crew. Chuck Jones, Tony Green. Tony Green, he's been doing this for 61 years. I think he started when he was 5, right?
That's right.
And Joe Lindsay, you won't find a better crew working the game tonight.
Swing it around the corner. Bolden, 2 threes as he got the start tonight.
And that's how you step up to the plate. Beetle Bolden, the West Virginia transfer, brings a nice shot. Sometimes shot selection is questionable, but you live with that for what he brings on both ends of the floor.
Saban Lee to the basket. And a foul against Alabama on the rebound.
And for people who think, when they look at the Vanderbilt record at 9-19, 1-14 in the league, let's remember this is a Vanderbilt team who did knock off LSU, who was a top 3 team in the Southeastern Conference right now. It's also a Vanderbilt team that was up at the half versus Kentucky twice. So they are a team that's proven that they can compete with some of the best in the SEC.
Scottie Pippen Jr. Saban Lee now back to Pippen. Maxwell Evans kicks it back to Pippen. Shot clock horn sounds. Rebound to Herbert Jones. Here's Kyra Lewis back the other way. Boy, he just put it into another gear. That is just something else.
Wow, did he hit another level.
And Pippen fouled.
I think Pat Bradley called it. He talked about the speed of Kyra Lewis versus the intelligence and decision-making of Scottie Pippen Jr. But look how quick. And even though he's very fast, there's guys that are fast but not under control. He is a guy that moves expeditiously, but he's always under control with the move that he makes, is Kyra Lewis.
Scottie Pippen Jr., of course, last week missed a couple of free throws late against Georgia and ended up costing the Vanderbilt Commodores a victory. Georgia hit a buzzer beater to win it a 3. Next game out, you wonder, how much does that register in your mind? He started the game 1 for 7 at the free throw line and finished making 5 in a row or 6 in a row. But you know that those 2 misses stuck with him for a little bit.
Absolutely. And that's tough for a freshman, especially on the road.
Bolden can't hit it. Rebound to the Commodores. Saban Lee with an offensive foul on the dribble. He was trying to slap Herbert Jones's hand, and Tony Green standing right there and saying, "Can't do that, son." Saban saying, "Well, he's grabbing me first."
Got to keep working him, Saban Lee, but in the right way. I love how Vanderbilt has been trapping Kyra Lewis to get the basketball out of his hand. That's another careless turnover from Alabama.
They got a mismatch. Obina posting up, Kyra Lewis underneath. They're trying to get it to him.
Now see, there was 2 things there. They lost their patience. They lost their patience, and of course I thought Obina was a little impatient as far as staying inside and going after the ball. Nice
Bolden.
pass.
That's 3 threes from that same spot.
Now you're in the danger zone. Vanderbilt averaging in the low 60s, about 64 points per game. Alabama, we said, second in the nation. Vanderbilt needs to keep the score down.
Evans answers back with a corner 3 of his own. And Herb Jones is fouled on the way to the basket. He'll head to the free throw line. Hey, coverage of the SEC Women's Basketball Tournament from Greenville, South Carolina begins tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern on the SEC Network and, of course, the ESPN app. It all gets started at 11 a.m. with Auburn taking on Vanderbilt, and then the 14-11 game, Ole Miss and Missouri, roughly 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. I tell you what, everybody's chasing down South Carolina, the #1 team, #1 seed, and, of course, the #1 team in the country. They have played some kind of hoop this year over in Columbia.
How about the job of Dawn Staley? And, you have to look at where the program was when she got there, and not only to take the program to heights that it had never seen before, but the job of her maintaining that excellence is something that I think the entire league and country should be appreciating right now.
Bama by 3. Obina off to Pippen. Shot clock down to 8. Saban Lee kicks it to Evans, who steps on the sideline. Timeout on the floor. Alabama by 3.
Well, on senior night, you expect your seniors to step up and beat a Bolden.
Bob Huggins. And tonight, 3 out of 4 from behind the arc as Alabama has knocked home 4 of 8 of their three-point attempts. They've hit 4 of their last 5. Matter of fact, they only had 2 field goals from inside the three-point line, both those by Kyra Lewis. But Kyra will try for the 3 here and buries it.
And how did he get that three-pointer? None other than Herb Jones. Herb Jones, I tell people all the time, if you want to be able to understand how to impact a basketball game without scoring, I don't know if there's a better player in the country. Defensively, he's so sound. He's so active, high motor, cerebral as a player. He does everything right.
The Sioux stepping back, knocking home the 3. Young man with 4 double-doubles on the year. Somebody better guard old Beetle Bolden.
Well, if you want to get into a three-point shooting competition, Alabama is not the team. But Coach Nate Oates said they're actually fairly similar. They play 5 out. A lot of times they like to get in transition. And when they are knocking down shots, they're capable of competing and beating anyone.
Offensive foul.
And this is a nice job of Kyra Lewis making the adjustment in the trap, and a nice job also of Beetle Bolden making sure that he made himself available. When you see a teammate in a trap, make sure that you move within the vision so that he can see you. And Beetle Bolden did that.
You see why he got the name Beetle. He was premature at birth. His grandmama called him Beetle. Felt like he was going to be strong. And he has certainly played that way as he's on the floor right now, scrapping for that loose basketball. But this Alabama team with Galen Smith, but they can't handle Obina inside. But Alabama, when you start talking about three-pointers, obviously they lead the SEC, but they've made 78 more threes than the next closest team, and that team happens to be on the court with them tonight.
Well, I think it's so impressive, Dave. That's the one thing that I think Alabama has to improve upon. They have to get more inside. They get it off of penetration, but whether it's Galen Smith, Davis had a double-double last game, they've got to get more from their bigs.
That's perfect from Scottie Pippen Jr.
How about the valuable experience that a lot of these young players are getting from Vanderbilt? They're taking their bumps and bruises this year, but next year they have quality career experience in SEC play that I think is going to help both Vanderbilt and Coach Jerry Stackhouse be successful.
Floater from Lewis.
He's really good, isn't he?
Yeah, that's...
Well, everything that you expect from a point guard, he can do. Just needs to get a little physically stronger, maybe communicate a little bit more, right? But he's communicating with his play.
Saban Lee says, you can do it, I can do it. They're going shot for shot now.
I like this battle.
Saban Lee with 9. Kyra Lewis with 7, but it's Beetle Bolden's night so far with a dozen. Hey, SEC now with Alyssa, Andy, and Steffi will be at Bon Secours Wellness Arena in Greenville, South Carolina, with pre- and post-game coverage of all the women's tournament games starting tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You can always watch these as well as every game, of course, on that ESPN app, which I know you have downloaded. And the Disney Plus app. I'm sure that's on your phone.
Absolutely.
Another scramble for a loose ball. Yankovic able to get it around. Pippen. Shackelford. We haven't heard much from Shackelford. He's scoreless. Only 1 shot attempt to this point. Shackelford's been red hot of late. 13 straight games in double figures for him, coming off 18 against South Carolina. But Jaden's been deferring his shots to Beetle Bolden.
Well, Jaden Shackelford, without question, it will be on the all-SEC freshman team. I think his play, you see the last 6 games, close to 22 points per game. And I think this year, like many years in the SEC, if you make an all-freshman team, there's a very good chance that you're going to be able to play at the next level. And Jaden Shackelford is one of those guys.
There's a look at the Fish all-freshman team. And, of course, it all starts with Anthony Edwards.
You think? You know, you look at those guys, and there's so many quality freshmen in this league, but if you were to debate, you tell me which one of those guys that you can take off that list, right?
Couisnard, South Carolina would be knocking on that door, but who am I going to take off that list? You know what I mean? I can't see myself removing anybody. Well, that's some high quality stuff right there with those guys. Tyra Lewis.
Oh, that's so good.
Come on, Fish. Whew. How about step back from Jankovic?
6'10", 212 pounds out of Croatia, showing you he's got a touch from behind that three-point line. And look at him hustle to get the rebound.
He's played in 18 games this year, averaging less than a point, but knocked home 3 of them on one shot. It is a three-point fest going on here.
You know, Drake says he went through London with
a guy like Tyra Lewis Jr. helps you get to where you want to go in terms of what you, because he fits what he wants to do to a team.
Yeah, that's a good call. And you look at that record at Buffalo as a head coach, ultimate success, already has 3 NCAA tournaments. I thought it was a tremendous hire by Alabama, and I love the fact that he said shoot it when you're open. That lets me know I could have played for him right now.
You didn't shoot it that much at all. Cliff Ellis wouldn't let you shoot it that much.
Cliff say first side of the floor, Fish back.
That's right.
You need to reverse the ball a little bit.
You're like, Coach, maybe next time down.
And Coach Ellis doing a tremendous job. I think a future Hall of Fame coach as well. The mismatch here for Saban Lee. I don't know why there you go. Why would you bring a screen to that?
Working on Davis. No shot. It's foul on the floor. Davian Davis, the freshman out of Canton, Mississippi.
Learn the game. For young players, learn the game of basketball. That is a prime example. If you see a mismatch, a guard on a big man, there's no reason to bring your man to that particular matchup and allow a switch or draw a double team. Allow that guard to go to work. Even if they don't score, they put the defense at a disadvantage and create something positive for your team.
Evans inside, kicks it back out to Lee. Jankovic just had it blocked by Lewis. Stays with it. How about the young man getting some early minutes and rewarding his coach for that decision?
Yeah, I think that he's taking steps, as is Vanderbilt right now. We talked about that record not being indicative of the type of team they are. Now, I know at this time of the year, my partner Andy Kennedy says eventually you are what your numbers say you are, but they have been extremely competitive in league play in quite a few games against high-caliber teams.
Saban Lee rips down that rebound. He averages over 3 of those a game. Here's Rice. Evans will kick it back to Lee. 3 is on the way, and it's good. And now Vanderbilt has hit 5 threes. Alabama's hit 6, and it's their first lead since it was 7-6 with about 15 and a half to go in the first half. It's an 8-0 run. That was quickly snapped by Bolden.
Boy, give all the credit in the world to this senior. You think about the difference that he makes with this basketball team. You think about the injuries that they've had with Beetle, Bolden out of the game. Herbert Jones, who tries to draw a charge there.
Beetle Bolden has 15. His season high is 23.
Well, I love the fake there. And what they're doing in Jerry Stackhouse and the Commodores, they're saying, we know how valuable Tyra Lewis is to your team. So we're going to trap him as soon as he gets across half court to see if someone else can beat us. Coincidentally enough, Coach Avery Johnson did that to get a huge win over Oklahoma when Trae Young was playing for Oklahoma. Remember, getting the basketball out of their best players' hands.
Bolden's career high for 3-pointers in a game is 6, and he's Already knocked home 5 here. We still have 5:50 to go here in the first half. Vanderbilt by 2.
This is the first time we've seen this type of pressure out of Jerry Stackhouse this year.
Save it, Lee, with quick hands, but Herbert Jones in right spot, right time. There's a scramble for the basketball. Commodores come out of there with it. Brayley Albert up ahead now. Saban Lee. Saban. Blocking foul. Count the basket.
It is the correct call. Give credit to Herbert Jones for trying to get in there. He was in the semi-arc, I believe. Saban Lee gets inside. He's still trying to move, and I believe that right heel was on the arc. Let's see. Or the left heel was on the arc. The correct call by Chuck Jones, and a nice job of Saban Lee exploding, putting pressure on Alabama's defense to get to the rim.
Second foul on Herbert Jones. And Saban Lee will head to the free throw line. Saban looking for his 15th point of the game. How about his start? 13 minutes, 15 points, 4 rebounds, a block, a steal, an assist. And Vandy's put up 35.
Well, they're scoring off of their defense, and they're throwing Alabama off from their trapping and their pressuring that I don't think Alabama expected coming into play.
Lewis can't get it to go. Davis to rebound. Bolden. Beetle with a bump, and Albert will pick up that foul. That'll be number 2 on him. Hey, Saturday at 8:30 Eastern. Some more gymnastics coming your way. The Blue Bloods, number 8 Alabama, number 10 Georgia. Only here on the SEC Network. Georgia and Alabama have combined to win 16 national championships.
Yeah, a lot of quality play. And how about Louisa Blanco's SEC Specialist of the Week after scoring a career-high 9.95s on the beam and floor in the win versus Kentucky.
I knew you were locked into Friday Night Heights.
You got to recognize excellence regardless of where it is, right?
Amen. Sitting next to it.
Oh, man, stop.
Okay.
Oh,
I went a little
actually, you
too
don't
far.
have to. You don't have to. Keep going. Keep going. How about Beetle Bolden
Yeah,
carrying this team?
What a half for this guy.
I gave Kyra Lewis the refuse to lose nickname. It goes to Beetle Bolden right now, just not wanting to lose on his senior night.
Shackelford. Saban Lee. Misses that shot. Up ahead to Shackelford. Reverse layup. Won't go.
I think Vanderbilt's doing an outstanding job defensively. Now, what Coach Nate Oates was talking about in our Wired segment was you have to get stops to get out in transition on defense, and you get a timeout call. Interesting timeout.
Vanderbilt will take the timeout. We'll take it with it back in a moment. Who that guy lost to. But Alabama loses at Mississippi State last week. Comes back, beats South Carolina. And they were in that first 4-out segment. They're nowhere to be found right now.
Yeah, Scott Van Pelt made a great point when he talked about how Maryland moved down quite a few spots after losing to Michigan State in the Big Ten, which is supposed to be the best conference in America, and Duke loses at Wake Forest and barely moves. We still haven't figured out how this net ranking works, but I have to imagine a lot is already built in at this point of the season.
Alabama, of course, trying to go at it without one of their best players, John Petty, who got hurt last Tuesday night in Starkville, dove for a basketball and sprained his elbow. He was out today practicing it earlier today, getting some shots up, but you know, the deal is that he's in uniform. We don't expect him to play, but that doesn't mean that we wouldn't see him. We've seen crazier things happen, but from what we could see, Fish, he looks like he's close, and they have certainly 3 or 4 days before their Saturday game at Missouri. This was him pregame getting some shots up. And they say it's a strength issue right now.
Well, and that shows the committee that he's capable. If he comes back and plays, it's a much different team. Alabama has had as many missed games and practices as anyone in the SEC. It's in the low 70s when you talk about Herbert Jones being out. The 2 guys that hurt their ACL at the beginning of the season, along with Beetle, Bolden, and now John Petty. I mean, looking at the injuries that they have, you have to say that Coach Nate Oates has done an outstanding job this season.
Bolden back the other way as Petty has to be a spectator here, and Bolden rolls off the iron, and Pippen Jr. back the other way. Shackelford the rebound. Reese just got tangled up and hit the deck. Now, the last meeting played on January 22nd in Nashville. John Petty went off in that game. He had 23 points, hit 5 3-pointers, went over the 1,000 career point mark. As Alabama rolled to a victory 77-62. It was their 3rd straight win over the Commodores, looking to make it 4 here tonight, but certainly a lot of work to do. But that's what you're missing without John Petty on the floor.
Yeah, you talk about a guy who has made 10 threes in a game before. He wants to play. They did where they make 80 shots in about 5 minutes, and Petty was shooting it today. He looked very good, but I love the fact that the staff is waiting till he's ready, making sure that they don't rush him back in spite of how desperately they need him right now.
He is leading the conference in three-point field goal percentage and second in 3-pointers made per game.
So we saw the chess move by Coach Nate Oates. The first chess move was by Jerry Stackhouse. He's trapped. He's shown a little pressure, and I believe it has certainly disrupted the Alabama offense. So first move goes to Jerry Stackhouse. Second move that time goes to Coach Nate Oates. He goes into a matchup zone where they're going to try to force Vanderbilt to beat them from the perimeter and stop the penetration by Saban Lee.
Alabama's gone almost 4 minutes without a field goal.
Jerry Stackhouse now goes to a matchup zone right now.
That won't drop, but a whistle on the floor. A foul on that rebound will send Davis to the free throw line.
Remember, Davis, the 6'9", 242-pound redshirt freshman, came off of a double-double last game, 20 points, 10 rebounds, ranks 4th on the team in steals and 6 in blocks, and actually leads Alabama in field goal percentage. I think he's really taken as big a strides as anyone on this basketball team and excelled under Coach Nate Oates.
Third foul on Brayley Albert. That snaps a scoring streak for the Crimson Tide that stretched almost 3 minutes. Vanderbilt hadn't scored in 3:18 off the clock. But will still walk away with a 2-point lead as we approach 2 minutes to go here in the first half for a Commodore team that's won just one conference game this year and really one conference game over the last 2 years. They are 1 for their last 34.
Body language doesn't state that, though, does it?
Does not.
They're a team that is competing, playing hard, and playing with confidence here in a hostile environment.
And a guy that always brings confidence to the table, Saban Lee. He's up to 18 here in the first half.
I really like the fact that Coach Jerry Stackhouse has disrupted this offense. And the way you answer that, if you're Alabama, number one, you get it into his hands a lot more, Kyra Lewis, but also you got to get stopped so you can get out into transition. And that's tough to do when this young man, Saban Lee, stunting like his dad, former FSU and NFL player. Right now, Saban Lee, between the legs, he is just comfortable and playing with a lot of rhythm right now.
At a career-high 34 against Georgia. And Pippen Jr. flying to the hoop. He's fouled. Count the basket, and he'll head to the free throw line.
This time of the year, I look at body language, and the body language of Vanderbilt says we're the hunters right now. We have nothing to lose. And Scottie Pippen Jr. has continued to impress in his decision-making skills, but more importantly, in the pace of play during this basketball game.
And Vanderbilt will get another chance at it off the missed free throw. We go under a minute. Commodores leading it by 7. And an offensive foul, moving screen on Yankovic.
Well, these 48 seconds are crucial right now. When we talk about the pace of play with Alabama, they could do it rather quickly and go for 2 for 1. 18-second differential. But the defensive changes and the scheme by Coach Jerry Stackhouse has stunned this offense a little bit.
Boy, Kyra Lewis is too quick.
Well, you don't want to take that angle. They were trying to force him to the sideline. Kyra Lewis is a guy you just need to stay in front of, and they do take advantage. They'll get another look if they can get a stop here. Will Alabama to try to go back and score.
The Sioux fires, no good. Evans keeps it alive. Sabin Lee out of Pippen. We'll try to hold for one final shot, perhaps. Little floater by Lee is good.
Tough.
20 in the first half for Sabin Lee, and the Commodores have a 7-point advantage.
Well, if you're at home and wondering what this is called, it's called the hesitate. Cannot wait to see who punches first in this second half. First 5 minutes, like any basketball game, so critical, but in particularly for Vanderbilt, who's trying to get another SEC win, and for Alabama, who is fighting for their NCAA tournament lives.
Sabin Lee with those 20 points, had his career high 34 10 days ago against Georgia, and right away they go to where they should go. That's Kyra Lewis. He'll get him on the board in a hurry here in the second half.
Well, they have to stop trying to down or ice Kyra Lewis to the sideline because he's so fast. Vanderbilt can't help defensively, but you can already tell here early Alabama's got a little bit more pep in their step.
Sioux from the corner hammers home a 3.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you give life to teams who are hungry for a win. Now Vanderbilt has supreme confidence that they can win here on the road in Coleman Coliseum.
Beetle Bolden to Shackelford. He answers with a 3. His first made shot of the game.
How about that? It's small and simplistic, but Jaden Shackelford being a southpaw in that corner gives him an even better look and better angle to shoot it from that particular corner.
Evans, he answers back. Well, the two best three-point shooting teams in this conference on display tonight.
Yeah, I love pretty offense. This is beautiful basketball, and I love the timeout called by Coach Nate Oates. He realizes the tournament is on the line, and he wants his team to fight. He said, what we're doing now is everything that we can to prepare us to play our best basketball in March. And that includes them taking a chance possibly of losing the SEC tournament. And so for Don Staley in South Carolina, they want to win the SEC tournament, but more importantly, they want to win the NCAA tournament. I can't wait to see how it all pans out.
Boy, it's such a fun time of the year. Here's Kyra Lewis off to Bolden. He'll swing it around Shackelford. That one won't drop. There's Galen Smith with a big offensive rebound.
Now, Galen Smith got that offensive rebound with Maxwell Evans on him. He's got to be strong enough and tough enough to go back up and put it in the rim.
Lewis gets another chance.
This crowd is ready to explode.
Foul on Lewis. Trying to overplay on Scottie Pippen Jr. And that'll be the third on Lewis.
That's huge. And Coach Nate Oates told us that for Kyra Lewis, he has to do so much for them to be successful, and that's why he's wiping his head right now. You have to give credit to the Commodores. They have been poised under pressure this entire game.
Sabin Lee. Sioux perfect with Herbert Jones right in his face.
Vanderbilt Commodores looking like they looked when they knocked off LSU. Plus 90 points versus the LSU Tigers, and we know that the Tigers are capable of beating anyone in the country.
And a foul on Pippen.
Dylan Dessou, 6'9", 220 pounds. You see Herb Jones, he helps and recovers. Not bad defense, just better offense out of Dylan Dessou, the freshman out of Texas.
Shackelford, strong move to the rack.
Waiting for him to show up to the party all night. This young freshman who's on my All-SEC freshman team has been quality all year long. And this is not the type of game where you disappear if you're Jaden Shackelford.
Saban Lee, step back.
Woo! Confidence.
He is feeling it tonight here in Tuscaloosa. 23 for Lee. That's his second 3 of the game. 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Shackelford answers right back and count it.
Anything you can do, I could do better is the mindset that Jaden Shackelford has been playing with all year. He comes off of the screen. Maxwell Evans tries to curl. There's no help from the big. And as a result, Jaden Shackelford now has a chance for a 4-point play.
Eight looking for 9. And less than 4 minutes here in the second half. Inside to Obina. Nice job to keep that one from going out of bounds, and he's rewarded with the basket.
Well, Alabama's smaller, playing Reese at the 5 position. And that's a nice pass by Saban Lee to Obina on the interior.
Shackelford working on Saban Lee. Got the friendly roll. How about 11? I think somebody might have challenged Mr. Shackelford in the locker room at halftime.
Yeah, well, he's a future all-leaguer. And right now, he, along with this crowd, is now applying the most pressure we've seen with Vanderbilt all night.
Dessou travels with it. Ten turnovers by Vanderbilt. Tyra Lewis won't go. Dessou the rebound.
Big time stop by the Commodores. Let's see if they can answer on this end.
Short, right into Reese's hands. Here's Shackelford. Pippen is back.
TV timeout can't come fast enough for the Commodores. This is the tempo and pace that we're accustomed to seeing from the Tide.
13 points in the opening minutes of the second half. Here's another takeaway. Tyra Lewis. And a bump at the free throw line. Alabama down 2.
Well, this isn't the TV show Saved by the Bell, but the Commodores saved by the timeout. Came against Florida where they were up 21 points on the road. Penn State, one of the better teams out of the Big Ten, and Kentucky.
Maybe the busiest man for Alabama all year has been their athletic trainer, Clark Holter.
No doubt about it. He has stayed extremely busy with all the injuries. But give credit to Scottie Pippen Jr., who's at the free throw line in this Commodore team, because in spite of some people saying, well, they're not playing for a tournament or a postseason, I think they have come in for this first 25 minutes and played as good as anyone that we've seen tonight.
You know, not only is Clark having to work with the Alabama, he's had to work on me today. I came in all banged up. He was kind enough to get me right.
Well, you got to have you ready for church league, right, Dave?
Yeah, you know, I got fired from a church league team. It's a long story. Alabama had a chance, but the foul will give it right back to Vanderbilt. Nate Oates trying to get his guys going in the right direction. Said at the end of the half, it was not a good effort by his club in the first 20 minutes, but they have played with a lot more intensity.
Yep.
And really, Shackelford has been the point man in that regard. Saban Lee left it short. Good defense by Jaden on that trip. Here's Kyra Lewis. Shackelford. I'll tell you what, Pippen might have gotten a little piece of that shot. That was well short by Shackelford. But a foul on the inside will stay with Alabama.
Well, I think it's so important as you take a look here. And that's a good contest. Not sure if he got a piece of the shot or a piece of the hand, but something certainly occurred because Jaden Shackelford isn't accustomed to shooting air balls.
I was giving him the benefit of the doubt, saying somebody tipped it. I was trying to help my man out as a guy that's been known to shoot an air ball or two. Hey, SEC Now with Alyssa, Andy, and Stevie will be at Bon Secours Wellness Arena in Greenville, South Carolina, with pre- and post-game coverage of all the women's tournament games starting tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. You can always watch these as well as every game on the ESPN app as Alabama has another chance here. Kyra Lewis working the baseline, splitting a couple of Vanderbilt defenders, and is tripped as he tries to get into the lane. Speaking of the lane, one of the things that foundations of Nate Oates' offense, paint touches. He likes to work. Now, there's certain opportunities, right, like a fast break where you can't really count those situations. But in their normal offensive set, he wants and is emphatic about getting a paint touch before a shot goes up.
Sure. Well, if they have less than 20 paint touches, it smells bad offense for them. And he told us that in the shoot-around. And so as good as they are at getting to the free throw line and at getting paint touches, most of the dialogue and conversation is about their three-point shooting. Well, his system, his pace of play is much more than three-point shooting, and I think we'll see that even more as we go down the stretch of this last 14 minutes of this game.
Kyra Lewis cups it, lays it in.
That's pretty good at getting paint touches when you have Kyra Lewis as well, and he acknowledged that today.
21 for Kyra Lewis. Came in averaging 18 a game. Saban Lee trying to find a little bit of room. Gets it to Pippen. Pippen in the lane working on Herbert Jones. High off the backboard. Reached the rebound.
Outstanding defense.
Shackelford right through the black jerseys of the Commodores and got hacked across the arm in the process.
That's exactly what Coach Nate Oates was talking about. He said that let's get some stops on the defensive end. Now when you come down, you see Vanderbilt, their defense isn't set. They can't run different half-court traps or set up in the defensive zones or even get better stops on the defensive end because they got to stop defensively, allows offensive transition for the Tide.
Alabama's last lead was 27-25, just about 8 minutes to go in the first half. They have a chance to take that lead right here as Shackelford completes the three-point play. And how about him with 16 points? And we have even played 7 minutes. He has 16 points in 6.5 minutes.
Pace of play, it's the tempo. You have to guard against that tempo for 40 minutes, and it's beginning to take effect against the Commodores right now.
Yankovic with an offensive foul and a moving screen.
Watch for the pick and pop here.
Bolden, way too strong.
Now this is where I expect Saban Lee to step up. You're on the road. You know he's the go-to guy. See if he can get to the basket or get to the free throw line.
Corner three from Albert, no good. Kyra Lewis kicks it back to Reese. Rebound there to Albert. By the way, no Jordan Wright here tonight for Vanderbilt. Got word at halftime that he was back in Nashville dealing with some concussion symptoms. So that's why one of the reasons Jerry Stackhouse has gone pretty deep in his bench.
Sure. And that's a critical piece. Jordan Wright, who has continued to play well as a freshman, brings another offensive threat. He scored 23 points at Tennessee. He's a guy who averaged 20 points and 13 rebounds in high school as a senior. And so they're missing him tonight. And I think it really is a testament to the performance of the Commodores thus far without having him here in the lineup. Just a horrible pass that time by Albert. Miscommunication.
Shackelford. Floater. Got it. Jake Shackelford, 18 points. They might want to guard him. 18 points in 8 minutes. Alabama out in front by 3. Albert. Got it.
Beautiful. Hockey assist goes to Saban Lee off the drive and the draw and the dish that allowed the extra pass to go to Albert for the three-point shot.
Kyra Lewis. Evans with a good rebound.
Looks like the Commodores have settled in on the defensive end a little bit better now.
That's a 2, had a toe on the line. And Vanderbilt back out in front by a pair.
Remember, Maxwell Evans, 90 games with 44 starts, and he put up 31 in that win against LSU. Had 25 in the first half. He's a critical piece to this Commodore team.
Kyra Lewis. And a whistle. He'll head to the free throw line. Jerry Stackhouse and his club up 2. But tell you what, there was a reunion that he had with one young lady that we will talk.
And turn out in your life. And Coach Jerry Stackhouse is a prime example of the job he did at the G League and the job that I think he will do at Vanderbilt over time.
Told us last week when I was in Nashville about how much he's learned by just watching other teams, how they play at the college game, picking up some of the nuances. It's a little bit different than the pro game.
Sure. But I think you look at the coaches that come from the NBA and that background experience, whether it's Jawan Howard at Michigan, Penny Hardaway, Dan Marley, all those guys realize that it's a different basketball game.
.35 to go. Vanderbilt tied with Alabama. Coach Stackhouse would love to dampen this season by Alabama. As his team not playing for a whole lot as Scottie Pippen Jr. gets into the lane.
I am really impressed with this young freshman. You know, you think about him scoring in double figures for 21 games, but what I'm most impressed about is not just him being the son of the Hall of Famer Scottie Pippen, but his basketball IQ. It improves with every basketball game.
Bolden trying to find a little bit of room. They'll swing it around. Kyra Lewis kicks it to the corner, and Bolden buries it. Beetle. Bolden now with 20.
How about the job of Alabama reversing sides of the floor twice? That's why the defense couldn't respond.
Traveling violation.
You know, at this position, the basketball had already moved around once. And when it moved the second time, you see how much more challenging it was for the defense to respond and get to Kyra Lewis. Reversing sides of the floor always enables your offense to be more effective and efficient.
Davis baseline jam.
For a second, I didn't know if the big fella would get there, but Davis out of Canton, Mississippi, showing you some hops.
That backboard still swaying after that emphatic dunk. Here's Pippen. Evans in traffic. DeSue with a deep, high-arching three over Herbert Jones.
Man, what a rainbow three-point shot with the pot of gold at the end of it. Dylan DeSue with a huge three-pointer to keep Vanderbilt in this game.
Tied at 68. And a sideline violation against Alabama will give it back to the Commodores.
Yeah, Davis stepped out of bounds on the previous play, but he was right where he needed to be with a huge finish on this play. Outstanding job, and for the Commodores, for every big play that the Tide has made, they have had an answer thus far. Dylan DeSue, 6'9", 220-pound freshman who I think shows a tremendous amount of promise for the Commodores.
Obina sets a screen for Pippen. Isaiah Rice getting some minutes. There's Obina again coming out high. Now Evans. Herbert Jones slips and falls. Pippen from the corner. No good. Rebound to Jones. Herbert has 6 of those today. Shackelford. He slips. Bolden. Scramble on the offensive end. And a foul against Vanderbilt on the rebound. Tied at 68. We'll hear from
analytical coach, Dave. And, you know, when that advice that he gave his team was advice that all teams need to listen to, especially this time of the year. When you see the basketball going through the net, you can't create separation unless you get stops. And that's what he's trying to explain to his basketball team right now.
Obina, good catch on the baseline. He'll back it back out. Saban Lee. Saban, 23 points. He has been very quiet here in the second half.
Well, Jaden Shackelford has really turned off his water in the second half. You have to give Jaden Shackelford credit defensively.
As we say that, Lee from the corner can't get it to go down. Jones the rebound.
Well, as a player, when you get less shots and when it doesn't go through, even when you get a wide open shot, you put a little bit more pressure on yourself because you hadn't seen the basketball go through the net as often.
Here's Bolden, wide open. Buries it. Beetle Bolden on his final night in Coleman Coliseum, putting on a show. 23 points. He's hit 7 three-pointers. And a foul on Herb Jones.
Well, Beetle Bolden, a senior on senior night. I remember that feeling like it was yesterday. You're willing to do any and everything to keep your team afloat and to try to win this basketball game. Love his composure that he's displaying. You know how bad he wants to win. You see the stern look on his face. And Alabama would not even be in this game without the transfer from West Virginia.
That is 4 fouls now on Herbert Jones. Pippen, pull-up jumper. That's off the mark, but right into the hands of DeSue, who lays it in.
They're just unwilling to go away quietly. You have to love this battle and fight being displayed by this young Commodore team.
Shackelford, pull up, right over Saban Lee. Tapped around into the hands of DeSue. That was online, just a fraction short. Loose ball on the deck. Jones has it. Five and a half to go. Alabama trying to keep whatever flame is flickering in their NCAA tournament lives.
Well, as this clock starts to go down, the pressure will go to the Crimson Tide, which was already on the Tide from the start.
And Vanderbilt back out in front by 1. 25 for Lee. Reese, deep three.
He struggled. 1 of 8 on the night from behind the three-point line. 7 rebounds, though.
If I'm not mistaken, he hit his first one of the night. And hasn't made one since. DeSue. He's tripped by Shackelford.
This is what Coach Nate Oates was trying to tell his team. Wow, he trips over his own feet on that play. That's a call that goes against the Tide. An unfortunate break if you're the Crimson Tide. He just lost the ball.
And that is number 4 on Shackelford. That's 16 fouls on Alabama. Pippen threw it off the back of Forbes, but right to Alabama. Shackelford catch, shoot, no good. Pippen the rebound.
I think the Tide's already starting to feel the pressure a little bit. Offensively, the flow is there, but it's almost like they're straining just to make every shot. If you're the Tide, you can't focus on that. The same thing for the Commodores. They're going for their second win in SEC play. You just keep playing your style of basketball.
Saban Lee shakes his head as he buries that three. With 28, he is chasing his career high of 34 set 10 days ago. Foul on Alberts. Saban Lee. And Vanderbilt lead it by 4 when we come back.
Well, the job that Coach Leonard Hamilton has done and is doing this year is excellent year in and year out. You think about the teams that have done well, whether it be North Carolina, Virginia, and Duke, you have to mention Florida State in those same names when you talk about the ACC.
How about Duke? They haven't won a regular season championships in 8 years.
Well,
hard to believe, isn't it?
Good win over NC State last night. Coach K going from man-to-man to the 2-3 zone. That's something else you look at. We talked about forgetting the numbers. You look at coaches right now as well.
Well, we're looking at the scoreboard here. It's 75-73. Vanderbilt out in front. Last 2 games, Commodores have shot 34% from the field, but tonight they're at 53%. Turnovers have been their Achilles heel tonight. Vanderbilt came in averaging 12 turnovers a game. They have 17 this evening.
Yeah, and only 13 assists. Anytime you have a negative assist-to-turnover ratio, which obviously means you have more turnovers than assists, it's usually a difficult night. But they're shooting 13 of 26 from the three-point line has kept them in it.
Davis lost the handle. It'll belong to the Commodores.
Alabama with 23 points off of those 16 turnovers of Vanderbilt.
Alabama right at their average, hitting 11 three-pointers tonight. Vanderbilt above their average. They hit about 8 per game, but they've hit 13 out of 26.
Whew.
Saban Lee, pull-up 3.
Bang, bang. What a trigger by Saban Lee tonight. Gaining more confidence with every play.
Number 5 from behind the arc for Saban Lee. 31 big points tonight. Shackelford, baseline. Pippen almost had it. Kyra Lewis. Nifty dribbling. Davis. Blocked by guess who? Saban Lee.
Outstanding. Now's where you have the pressure. And what a timeout by Coach Jerry Stackhouse, realizing the position they are in this basketball game.
What a job on the defensive end by Saban Lee.
Defensively, and right now Alabama just has not been able to find an answer for Saban Lee.
Herbert Jones back on the floor with 4 fouls. He will check Saban Lee after this inbounds pass by Maxwell Evans. 25 on the shot clock. Just over 2.5 to play. Saban Lee. They left him alone for the easy layup.
Second time you've seen miscommunication with two players. Both thought that they had the ball and both ended up leaving the ball. Now you've got some pressure on Alabama here down the stretch.
And a blocking foul. Underneath, he gets Pippen. They just had a breakdown here on the baseline.
Sure. Well, you got Forbes and Shackelford on him, both on the ball. Shackelford thought that Forbes was taking over and maybe going to keep him in a trap, and Forbes thought that he was just helping and then going to recover to his man. That close to the basket, you just can't afford to leave the basketball.
Kyra Lewis knocking home that free throw. Kyra 78% at the free throw line. Kyra up to 26 points. He had a career high against Georgia as well. 37 for him earlier this year. Kyra also only the second Alabama player to ever record a triple-double. Did that against Auburn with 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 13 assists. Here we go, man. 2 minutes to play in this one. Here's Pippen, guarded by Lewis. Evans. Shot clock into single digits now. Isaiah Rice getting some minutes in crunch time, and offensive foul as he ran right over Shackelford.
What a huge play. You're looking at a Vanderbilt team that's only averaged 64 points per game in conference play. This is what Alabama's going to have to do if they want to win and keep their NCAA tournament hopes alive. They're going to have to get consistent stops on the defensive end and get some points here on the offensive end.
Dalen Smith can't hang on to it. Last touch by Vanderbilt with 1:36 on the clock.
Galen Smith got away with a little push against Dylan Dessou on that particular play as well. I think it was the right pass. Galen Smith has to go up and grab that with two hands.
Shackelford hit the side of the backboard. Shot clock obviously did not reset. Here is Bolden with a hand check on Pippen on the outside.
Coach Stackhouse doesn't like the call, but it's the correct call, and I love the fact that Alabama continues to attack the rim. You see a 5-point deficit for Alabama, and a lot of times, especially when you're a good three-point shooting team, the tendency is to start throwing up a barrage of three-point shots. Instead, the senior, the veteran, attacks the rim.
On senior night, Beetle Bolden with 24, a new season high for the senior. Out of Covington, Kentucky, the 6-foot guard transferred from West Virginia after playing almost 90 games for the Mountaineers. And he missed the second, so a 4-point game. Saban Lee with the basketball. Probably a good decision as he scored 10 straight for the Doors.
Well, he's got a guy who would be on my all-defensive team and Herbert Jones on him. Herbert Jones has length and a size advantage at 6'7", but they have to switch.
Saban Lee buries it as he got knocked to the floor. What a shot by Saban Lee. Give him a new career high. 36 tonight here in Coleman Coliseum. Timeout Alabama with 52 seconds to play. You want to talk about big-time shots. This is the definition of that.
Well, it starts with the high ball.
Alabama's defense has caused some problems for Alabama. Bama hasn't had a field goal in over 6 minutes.
Well, for young players watching this game, your defense and offense are connected. We say this all the time. And when Alabama defends, then that allows them to get out in transition to score baskets that they need. What a shot by Lewis.
Speaking of baskets that you need, Kyra Lewis makes it a 4-point game. Here's Pippen. Boy, Herbert Jones all over Saban Lee, and a foul on Bolden. That'll be the first foul on Beetle Bolden. And that'll send Pippen to the free throw line with 34 seconds to play.
Actually, not a bad foul. Obviously, you don't want to put Vanderbilt at the free throw line, but from a time standpoint, you need more possessions if you're Alabama, and you're going to need some help from the Commodores to win this game.
Pippen rolls it through the cylinder.
Make or miss, it's a two-possession game. If Scottie Pippen Jr. is able to make this, I think you almost have to have a three. But if he misses this, it's first available shot.
1 out of 2.
If I'm Lewis, I'm going right to the rim to see if I can score or get fouled.
There he goes. Guarded by Evans. It's short, tapped around, taken by Pippen. They will get the ball to Saban Lee. Saban fouled by Herbert Jones, and that's number 5 on Herb with 20 seconds to play. And now you send Saban Lee to the free throw line. As this Vanderbilt team will try to win their first road game of the year. 0-9 this year on the road. Their last conference road win, you got to go back to 2018 when they beat Ole Miss in the season finale in Oxford.
Yeah, we mentioned it, that the numbers beside your name mean nothing this time of the year. And you look at this 9-19 Vanderbilt team that has come in and played much better than a team that's 1-14 in the SEC. Herb Jones now fouls out. And so we mentioned that the Tide was going to need help. They really need help now to try to keep this a two-possession game.
So Herbert Jones will watch the final 20 seconds. Saban Lee toeing the line, looking to add to his career high. He makes the first. Tonight's player of the game brought to you by Zaxby's. We'll give it to the senior on senior night in his final regular season game inside Coleman Coliseum. It'll be Beetle Bolden. 24 points tonight. He's hit 7 3-pointers. But it may not be enough, as it's a 7-point game. And it'll belong to Vanderbilt. That may do it right there with 15 seconds left. And whatever hopes Alabama had of sneaking into the NCAA tournament, they come down to them winning the SEC tournament.
Yep. Got a lot of work to do in Nashville, but this story is not just about the Crimson Tide falling short tonight. You have to give a lot of credit to Coach Jerry Stackhouse and the Vanderbilt Commodores. They had every excuse to just come and lay down in this game. Had a tough loss on the road at Ole Miss. You knew you had a hungry Alabama team, even though you've got John Petty that's out, Herbert Jones that's been out. The Commodores never quit, and I think they played a game where they deserved to win tonight.
Here's Alabama's, their numbers. A net of 42, and of those teams that are outside looking in, their net was the highest. Remember, last year Ole Miss was the last team of the SEC to get in, and their net was around 36. I mean, that doesn't mean that that's the end of the line, but if you're hovering around 40, you've got a different chance, a pretty decent chance to be in that discussion. But this is going to be a tough, tough loss for Alabama to handle.
Sure. I think it's important for Alabama fans, though, to realize that their season is far from over. What they should realize is that their team needs them even more now in Nashville. What a quality win, though, by Coach Jerry Stackhouse.
Second conference win of the season.